MotoGP, where bravery meets speed and legends are made in milliseconds. But in 2025, the wild chaos that once defined the sport is being reined in. Engine freezes, strict tire rules, aero cuts. Some call it progress, others say it's killing the thrill. So is MotoGP evolving to survive, or losing its soul in the process? Let's break down the 2025 rule changes, because this isn't just a tweak, it's a full-blown overhaul. First, the engine freeze. Most manufacturers are now locked into one engine spec for both 2025 and 2026. No upgrades, no mid-season tweaks. What you start the season with is what you've got, no matter what. But there's a catch. Honda and Yamaha aren't playing by the same rules. Thanks to the concession system, they're allowed more freedom, 10 engines instead of 8, and they can still develop throughout the year. It's meant to help them catch up, but it also creates a two-tier system. Then there's Ducati. The top dog in recent seasons built a brand new GP25 engine, but didn't race it. Why? Brake issues. Instead, they brought a heavily upgraded version of last year's bike, nicknamed the GP24.9. It worked, but it shows how engine freezes can actually slow down progress. And now, the tire drama. Michelin had a new front tire ready, and it tested well, but it's been delayed to 2026, so teams are stuck with the older rubber and stricter tire pressure rules. Break the limits, and you're hit with huge time penalties. 8 seconds in sprints, 16 in full races. And remember, this is just the warm-up. In 2027, MotoGP hits reset, 850cc engines, no more ride height devices, and aero trimmed way down. The future's coming fast, and it's going to look very different. So why now? Why lock down development and micromanage setups? The official line is clear. Cost control, competitive balance, and safety. MotoGP isn't cheap. Developing new engines, aerodynamics, and electronics every few races turns into a spending war, something only the factory giants can truly afford. So the freeze? It's meant to keep everyone in the same lane, cutting costs and preventing the rich from running away with the championship. The 2027 rulebook aims to bring back what made MotoGP iconic. Riders battling each other, not engineers battling spreadsheets. Aero is getting trimmed. Ride height devices, those tricky launch gadgets, are being banned. And the move to 850cc engines. That's about reducing speed and complexity without killing the thrill. There's also the calendar shakeup. Races are being reorganized to target global prime times, make travel more sustainable, and inject fresh energy into the season. In theory, it's a blueprint to future-proof the sport. But here's the thing, when you start changing the DNA of MotoGP, you also risk losing what made it electric in the first place. Because when you look closer, the cracks are showing. Take Ducati, they're the most dominant manufacturer right now. If even they have to ditch a new engine mid-development because they're afraid of being locked into a flawed design, what does that say about innovation? Engine freezes don't just control costs, they kill momentum. The tire situation might be even worse. With the 2025 front tire pulled from the lineup, riders now have to ride conservatively, not to manage grip, but to manage tire pressure numbers. We've seen riders slow down deliberately, even pull off the racing line just to avoid a post-race time penalty. And that's not racing, that's micromanagement. Meanwhile, the concession system has created a strange imbalance. Honda and Yamaha, yes, needed help, but now they're operating under different rules than KTM, Aprilia, or even Ducati. So while the sport talks about fairness, the grid is split into two different levels of development freedom. It's a Rubik's Cube of rules. For fans, it's confusing. For teams, frustrating. For the racing, sometimes just flat. Now let's talk emotions, because this is where it really hits. Veteran fans remember when MotoGP was mayhem, when a privateer could land on the podium and wildcards like Elias or Abraham could shock the field. Now, those moments feel rare, washed out by precision, penalty reviews, and technical limits. Riders, they're feeling it too. Francesco Bagnaia, who has been one of the stars of MotoGP since the latest technology advances came into the sport, admitted it was strange to see the engine sizes drop and performance being sacrificed. Today, riders spend more time studying tire graphs, fuel maps, and pressure charts than focusing on the fight. The raw edge, the brawls, the moments where a rider says, "I'm going for it," even if it costs them, those are getting fewer and farther between. Sure, some fans love the strategy side, but most of us, we're here for the madness, the lunges, the saves, the "did you see that?" kind of moments. The stuff that grabs your gut and makes you yell at your screen. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's give credit where it's due. MotoGP is now safer than ever. The pack is closer than it's been in years. And thanks to rule-induced parity, we've got teams like Aprilia and KTM genuinely fighting for titles. That's not something you could say a decade ago. The calendar is more global than ever. The sport is reaching new markets, expanding its fan base, and making MotoGP truly international. And that big 2027 overhaul, it could be the reset the sport needs. With simplified bikes, less aero, and a greater emphasis on rider skill, we might just be heading back to the chaos we love. If they get it right, this could be MotoGP's renaissance moment. So, is MotoGP losing its soul? Maybe, but it's also evolving. It's not just about the rules, it's about the racing. If we're still getting those last lap lunges and fearless dives into turn 1, then the fire's still there. What do you think? Evolution or extinction? Drop a comment, hit like if you want MotoGP raw and real, and subscribe for more straight up racing talk.